Okay.
Okay, well, let me get the work in, Josie. I'll get with you.
All right, later.
So.
Yeah. Liz, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We need a minute. Alana is, we're still getting things together over here. Alana stepped away for a minute.
Okay,
might
just shoot me a message. Just shoot me a message when you're ready.
Got it. We'll leave it on, unmute so we can talk there if you need us. Let's see, VPN connection. I'll do 2 months successful domain.
You don't need to be here.
Let's see. We could. I think so. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. Okay. Turn on my volume.
Okay, is everyone settled in there?
Just about. I'm having trouble logging in on my laptop.
Uh-oh.
Yes, sir. Soon they can open it like that. Still. Okay, we're ready, Madam Chair.
Fantastic. All right, it's 9:33. We can get started.
Thank you. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this May 15th, 2023. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that calling users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak in our particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak in our particular matter have been considered. We have received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you go ahead and call the roll, please?
Sure thing. Ms. Holzer?
Present.
Ms. Faith?
Present.
Ms. Brown?
Present.
Ms. Roca is absent today, and Ms. Britt.
Here.
All right, Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4 members.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. Postponements and withdrawals.
Yes, Madam Chair. Before you, we have calendar number 23-056, 360 East 118th Street. Anthony Dial proposed to establish use as a residential facility for 5 occupants in a B1 two-family residential district. I believe that this applicant is asking for the postponement to allow more time to meet with the council person. And we could give it approximately 30 days. That would put us June 12th or June 26th. The 19th is a holiday.
Make it the 22nd. What's the 20 what?
The 26th.
26, yeah, make it 26.
Okay, so calendar number 23-056 has been postponed to June 26th. Therefore, there will be no testimony taken today. If you received a letter, a hard copy letter in the mail, we will send another letter to you. So thank you for coming, but we will not take testimony today on that case. So the next one is calendar number 23-069 regarding 1036 Somerset Avenue. This is one called JC Mechanical LLC, proposing to change the use of a two-family residence to a three-family residence in a B1 two-family residential district. Madam Chair, we found in our research that this case has been heard and decided on. However, we need to postpone it to allow time for the applicant to research it to find out if there's been any major changes in the
Any changes?
right in the
Mhm.
neighborhood. So if we could give him to the 26th, I think that would give him enough time for us to get the information to him regarding the previous case and, for him to prepare any information that he'd like to submit.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. So as with the last case, calendar number 23-069 has been postponed to June 26th. If you received a paper copy in the mail, you'll receive another one in the mail. There will be no testimony today. Thank you. And so, Madam Chair, the next one is calendar number 22-220, 6100 Trusson Avenue. Mad Prop LLC proposing to install 513 linear feet of electrified security fence. At this time, they do not wish to go forward with the variance request.
Okay, it is withdrawn.
Thank you. And that is all we have for you regarding postponements and withdrawals.
Okay, do we have any council people in attendance?
I do not see any. No, Madam Chair, I don't see any.
Okay, we can go with the first case.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Our first case is calendar number 23-070. This is at 1885 West 65th Street. Cat Wynn, owner, proposes to construct a 2-story garage with studio above in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I am swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Anthony Gray, 7254 Limbrook Drive, Oakwood Village, Ohio, 44146.
Thank you. Anyone else here for this case?
No.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1907, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling. 1909, a permit was issued to erect a garage. And then in more recent history in our Acela system, we found that in 2006, a permit was issued to re-roof the property. There are no variances on file for this address and nothing of note in the Acela system. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Oh, Madam Chair, we do not have legal representation this morning due to an unforeseen circumstance. So if you would like, I'd be happy to read it in for you.
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the minimum distance between buildings requirement of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting of the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Gray, tell us what you'd like to do.
We would like to actually erect a garage, as you see at the bottom of the screen, a garage with a studio above, and the owner would like to have a little green space in between the house and the garage, which unfortunately is going to take away from the actual 40-foot distance with the size of the garage that they want to put up. And we're requesting that we have some relief to actually, I believe we're only going to have like 28 feet instead of 40 feet between the house and the garage.
Okay, is it just a, Liz, did I hear in the reading something about a studio?
The
Yes,
studio
Madam-
is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes, Madam Chair, I believe that the studio is requested to be on the second floor. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right, so talk about the studio. I just wanted to make sure.
So the studio, you will enter from the interior of the garage, and it will have a small kitchen and a sitting room for the owner's use, just
Okay, so-
above the garage.
Okay, so we'll be for the owner's use. They won't be renting this out.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right, and what are the dimensions of the garage? I can't really see.
20, it's 22 by 30.
Okay. All right, city planning?
Maurice Rulon, City Planning, Madam Chair, this is a relatively minor variance. We approve these all the time. I noticed on the plans that it's calling for 28 feet and they're written up for 22 feet. To the applicant, was there a change made from when you submitted to Building and Housing?
Not to my knowledge. I noticed that as well, and I thought maybe that was just a clerical error because I seen the same thing.
So, well, I just want to be clear, which is it, 22 or 28?
It's actually 28.
Okay, great. So we feel that that's more than enough room for public safety equipment to get in case of a fire. And there's also plenty of room to have adequate yard space. So we would recommend approval of this.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I have one question. Is the home, the primary residence, a single or a double? This is a 2-family district. I'd like to know what the home is.
The home is actually a double. I'm just working with the owner that lives in the one side of the one side of the home.
But it's owner occupied.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions, board?
Hearing none, Madam Chair, I'll move to a motion.
Okay,
We have testimony from the applicant's representative that the home is currently a double and is owner occupied, and that the 2-story garage to be erected with the studio on the second floor is not going to be used as a rental property. It is going to have a small kitchenette and a sitting room for the use of the homeowner. City planning supports this, so I move that we go ahead and approve calendar number 23-070.
thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Member Brown, I second.
Ms. Brown with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Olzer,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Faith,
Yes.
Ms. Britt. Calendar number 23-070 is granted. It'll be ratified on June 5th when we are back together with a full complement or quorum. And once we ratify that, we will send the appellant a letter. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next case.
Our next case is calendar number 23-071. This is at 3763 West 136th Street. Jessica Rodriguez, owner, proposes to establish an in-home salon business located in an A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address.
I do. Melissa Miller, Jefferson Puritas West Park Development Corporation, 14703 Puritas Avenue.
Thank you.
I do, Jessica Rodriguez, 3763 West 136th Street.
Great. Anyone else here for this case? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1926, a permit was issued to erect a two-story dwelling. In 1971, a permit was issued to demolish a one-story garage. And then in the more recent history, Madam Chair, we see that in 2005, a permit was issued for waterproofing. 2015, a 6-foot tall privacy fence was erected. 2018, there was an air conditioning unit placed on the property, and that's all that I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you go ahead and read the legal standard?
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, the appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will, 1, result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Rodriguez, go ahead. Tell us what you like to do.
Okay, so I'm a certified permanent makeup artist and semi-permanent. What I'm looking to do is to utilize a room I have located in the basement area so that I can provide the services. And I would be the only one. I don't have any other employees, which is myself. I'm looking to do it as an appointment only so that there's organization, as well as using my driveway for parking. And it's easy access because if they go into the parking, they'll make the right, and then that's the door that I'll be utilizing to enter the basement.
Okay, so it's a room in your house that you want to turn this
Yes, located
into a business. Okay. And what exact services will you be providing?
So it's permanent makeup. So as an example,
Okay.
if a person, undergoes chemo, they may lose some eyebrows. So be helping them.
Okay, so all right, so permanent makeup, so like no hair or anything like that?
No,
It's
only
just makeup.
eyebrows, yes.
Okay. All right, and what will your hours of operation be?
To be able to gain some business, I'm looking between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Days?
Monday, well, I would say Monday through Sunday only because right now I'm slow. So if someone schedules, I would like to be available, but I know in the beginning it's not going to be a 7-day service.
Okay. All right, you said it'll be appointment only, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Ms. Miller.
Thank you very much. So we have not had a chance to speak with Ms. Rodriguez. Neither myself nor the councilman. So I actually would like to ask for a postponement so we can talk to her. Originally, I came here today with the intention of being against the variance because we have traditionally been against any variances where clients come to the house in a single family residential district. But after hearing Ms. Rodriguez talk, I just texted the councilman and asked if I could ask for a postponement so we can have a chance to talk to her because I would like to know more about her business. I don't feel that just coming in saying we don't want the business today is what neither myself nor the councilman want without talking to her more after hearing what she had to say.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rodriguez, are you amenable to speaking with the CDC and the councilman and then coming back?
That's not a problem.
Okay, Liz, how quick can we get her back on?
June 12th would be the quickest for us.
Okay, Melissa, can you guys talk with her before then?
Absolutely, Madam
Okay, great.
Chair.
All right, so we'll reschedule you for June 12th, Ms. Rodriguez. So come back to the same space that you're in right now for that day, and you would have talked to Ms. Miller and the councilman by then.
And Ms. Rodriguez, I will send you my phone number in the chat so you can contact me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Next case.
Our next case is calendar number 23-077. This is at 2435 Superior Avenue. GBX Group proposes to establish use as amusement/entertainment use, including outdoor live entertainment, arcade, bowling alley, and restaurant in a semi-industry district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address. And ma'am, would you please come to the front row? Thank you.
Would you like me to speak now?
Well, I'd like you to raise your hand, give your name and address.
Hi, my name is Stephanie English, and I represent 1374 East 25th Street, 1408 East 25th Street, and 1409 East 25th Street.
And you affirm that the testimony is the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to provide testimony for this calendar case? Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, there is some more. Zach, you're muted.
Okay, thank you.
And then
Please,
you want the other people? There's Dominic Durante with LDA Architects.
Don Volkich with LDA Architects.
And Adam Peteniak with LDA Architects.
Can you all say your name slower, please?
Yes, it's Dominic Durante with LDA Architects.
Dom Volkich with LDA Architects.
Adam Peteniak with LDA Architects.
Sorry, we have difficult names to spell.
Yeah.
We have a court reporter, so we just want to make sure she gets everything.
okay, that's it from LDA Architects?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you now, yes.
Great, thank you. Zachary Gurin with GBX Group, 2101 Superior Avenue.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, there's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 2014, a permit was issued to add an addition to a factory, a two-story addition to the factory on site. In 1926, a permit was issued to add an additional addition to for offices and storage. And then in 1917, permit was issued to demolish a portion of the building on the site. And 1924, there was a roof sign that was erected. And then also, Madam Chair, in 1953, a non-electric wall sign was erected. 1953, an addition for storage was made on the property. In there, 1966, there was remodeling to the offices. And I believe that's all that we had in our Records Administration Office. And then in the more recent history, we find nothing that I see that's relevant. There are no variances on file, and that's all that I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. You go ahead and read the legal standard, please.
Oh, that's a big one. Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the board, the appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that granting of the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, the appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other lands or buildings in the same district. 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And 3, that the granting of the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Then there is a note here that says the code allows the board to exempt an enterprise from the requirements that noise be inaudible more than 50 feet away, where either 1, the location is sufficiently distant from a residential occupancy and noise is confined to a practical degree, or 2, the audibility of noise beyond 50-foot limit would not adversely affect the use of the surrounding premises. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who will be the spokesperson for this case?
I can start. GBX Group is a historic preservation group, so we're very excited to be rehabilitating the historic State Chemical Company complex in the Superior Street Baptist Church.
Okay, I'm sorry, who's speaking now?
This is Zachary Gurin.
Okay, so for our court reporter, so when you start speaking, just say who you are beforehand.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, Zachary
No
Gurin
problem.
with GBX Group. We're very excited about rehabilitating this property. We've owned it for several years now, and it's been underutilized or vacant. We spent the past few years rehabbing the building, doing structural repairs, cleaning out the interior to make it more attractive to potential tenants. It's taken a little while, but we finally feel like we found the right tenant and the right use that fits both the space and the evolving Superior Arts District. We have, the Cross Country Mortgage headquarters down the street. We have apartments and restaurants being built in the neighborhood. The police headquarters was recently announced across the street as well. It's really becoming a true live, work, and play district. So we're excited to be adding the play aspect, the multi-use food and beverage and entertainment project that we have here. So we're here today to ask for relief from that strict application of the certain sections of that ordinance that were mentioned earlier. In this currently it's a semi-industry use district, and we understand that there may be a rezoning of this district down the way with all of these changing uses. So as was mentioned, it's a 1921, I think, zoning with the semi-industry. So we think that's antiquated and will be updated soon. So that's why we're here for the variance, and hoping to get this project up and underway soon.
This is Dominic Durante. I would like to add to what Zach said is This is a very unusual building. You know, it was a Baptist church originally and built 1901, and then the commercial office building, warehouse building was connected to it, and State Chemical made that all one complex. And so it's been a challenge to find a use for repurposing this. And this is a historic tax project, so you know it'll be all brought back to its character of the original construction through the historic tax credit process. But Zach, along with this group called ROAR, we think it's a really good fit. We call it, entertainment amusement, but really what it is, it's a restaurant use. It's called amusement and entertainment because they have putt-putt. They have these sort of modern digital games inside of the building that allow this building to be interesting for what they do and work for getting their equipment in there and their operations in there. But it really is a restaurant. And the reason why we have it as entertainment in amusement is because if we were to use that square footage just as a pure restaurant from a building code standpoint, it would require us to have a lot more bathrooms and things that we just don't need for this use because of all the equipment that occupies a lot of the square footage within the building. I also would like to add that the 3347.2 it's got a residential district that I think is an adequate zoning. It's really a zone that is currently where the inner belt is. So I don't see any way in the future that there's going to be a residential district as indicated in the third item on this variance request. Here's some floor plans to show what we're saying, where we have two totally different buildings. They're connected with sort of this ramp thing in the middle, but it makes it for a really interesting, fun space for this ROAR restaurant entertainment operation. So it really is a good fit. A lot of money is going to be put into the building to rehabilitate it for a new purpose. So we're asking that, and the building is going to be enclosed. There's very few operable windows, so the noise isn't going to be coming out of it. It's going to be music playing inside of these buildings.
So will it be live entertainment music or just like piping through speakers?
Well, there'll be a combination of music and speakers, and there'll be some live entertainment also inside the building. But the building itself, like I said, because of the historic tax credit nature of this, there's glass block windows on the building, and we can't really change the windows much. So we're keeping the windows the way they are. Where there's the most operable windows would be on the Superior side, the street side. So when the building's in operation in the interior, the sound will pretty well be contained within the structure. We are proposing an outdoor, we call it a beer garden space, and that would be the one area where there would be some music and live entertainment that would occur in the summer months, in the warm weather. And that, of course, is outside, and it would be more audible than anything that happens inside the building for the majority of the year.
And what will be the days and hours of operation of this business?
Zach, do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. I believe let me actually just check the other. There's another location for this tenant in Winston-Salem. Let me find out what their days and hours of operation are, because it'll probably be pretty similar.
Yeah, it's a restaurant operation, but they'll probably go later into the evening with this. you know, I don't know, to 11, midnight. I don't know if they're gonna go beyond midnight, so, but it'll be, you know, in this kind of districts, you know, this again, the Superior District, the campus district is changing, as Zach mentioned. It's got a lot of really good things happening, and, you know, more it's just changed from single family homes to multi-family residential. There's, you know, new office users, including your own city. Police headquarters is moving in across the street. So this kind of food and entertainment venue would really support what's happening to the Superior campus district. So we think it's not only a good fit for the building, but we think it's a really good fit for the neighborhood.
This is Zach.
Yeah.
This is Zach Gurin. The current hours of operation for the Winston-Salem location is 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. until 11 p.m. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, they're open until 1 a.m. I don't know if that will be the same. But.
Well, we have to have it for the record. So I'm sure you probably won't be open past 1. So just leave it like that. And if your hours are earlier, then you're fine. But if your hours are later, you will not be fine. So just
okay.
know that.
Understood.
Okay, anyone else on the project team?
What was the question? The project team.
Yeah, she'll get you.
Absolutely.
Okay, not hearing anyone else. I have Stephanie English signed up.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Go
I
ahead.
can provide you testimony.
Hi, I'm Stephanie English, and I've already provided my addresses, and I would like to say that we really have enjoyed having RBX as a neighbor and a developer. They've been very communicative and helpful in all of us trying to reactivate this portion of East Downtown as a mixed-use walkable area that's safe. We love everything about this plan, with the exception of potentially the outdoor stage, being that it's really encroaching on the residences that are, you know, there on East 25th Street. So I believe that RBX would be accommodating to work out with us what hours they may have the live music and what we could do to provide that notification to the, I would say, 20 or 30 people that do live on the street. And really, that's it. We love everything about this plan. Our only concern that we'd like to voice is that one corner of the outdoor stage and being able to work with RBX to be able to notify the residents of the street on the concert schedule and work with them on that.
Thank you. I agree with that actually, and I believe the outdoor venue, you need to cut that music down earlier than 1 a.m. So possibly around 11, if the ones that's getting piped outside, so you are not disrupting the neighbors behind you.
I'm in agreement with you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
This is, can I respond and just
yes,
say that,
please.
yeah, we will, yes, this is Zachary Gurin with GBX. We are certainly open to doing that, to speaking with the residents, making sure they're notified of the schedule and certainly quieting down at a reasonable hour.
Excellent, thank you.
Great, thank you. City planning.
Madam Chair, Maurice Rowland, City Planning. I have on screen the letter of support from Councilwoman House on this project.
It's not over there.
Oh,
It's not on here though.
hold on a minute.
I believe you, but I don't see it.
Sorry, it's on one of our screens here, but not the other. I will remedy that in 1 second.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. So we have a letter of support from Councilwoman House. I believe, I don't have it on screen, but we also got a letter of support from the Campus District Community Development Corporation, also in support of this. And I agree with what was stated by, well, she left already, by one of the neighbors. about the outdoor venue and limiting how late it can go at night. I would say even maybe 10 o'clock, especially during the week. Maybe even earlier during the week. I'll leave that up to the board to decide. There are only a handful of houses, but it still will be disruptive outside. I don't think anything that's happening on the inside is going to affect the residents. But on the outside, that might be a bit much going too late. So we are very much in support of this project with that provision.
Okay, great. All right, so yeah, definitely. I wasn't even thinking during the week. I was just thinking the weekend. Yeah, during the week, we'll cut that to 10 for any outdoor music. And then for the weekend, we'll say, all right, board, any questions?
Madam Chair, have one question. I remember last year we had an Axe Bar for Detroit Avenue, I think.
Correct.
So this approval as it is being proposed would allow for that?
As far as I know.
Yes. That other case we had was a singular use Axe Bar with this is a multi-entertainment complex, so I think it's a tad different.
Okay.
There's an adequate enough space in here for that.
Right. That and the sound stage were my two questions, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
and I support the hours discussed.
As Ms. Brett delineated.
Yeah.
Great. Madam Chair, to the appellant, so is axe throwing included in this? Can you kind of give us an overview of the activities that are going to be part of the entertainment aspect of this?
Yes, we can do that. There's a putt-putt. It's going to occupy a large portion of the building. It's you're still using clubs and balls, but it's sort of a digital hybrid of a putt-putt course. There's going to be arcade games also that are going to be in the lower level and be restricted to like 4 people at a station at a time. You sort of rotate from one station to the next and go through that. You can see that there on the screen on the left side. The whole second floor on what was the church side is going to be all putt-putt. Then there's on the top floor of the church side, there's bowling, basically. Bowling is a smaller portion of about like a quarter of the lower level is where there's some axe throwing lanes, and there might be 6, 8, 8. Is that all right? 12.
They come in pairs. That's why 6.
Oh, all right. There's 6 pairs of axe throwing, and then there's the arcade games. Like modern version of pinball and things like that. Then there's restaurant space and dining space. There'll be a takeout operation. So I think that's it. Did I miss anything, guys? Or was there any other activities?
No, that's all right.
That'll be it.
Great, thanks. Madam Chair, I don't know if we have any other questions or comments. I can move forward.
If there are no other questions, go ahead.
Okay, so we've heard testimony from the appellant and the appellant's agents as to the activities that are going to be going on in the complex, the food service being limited so as not to require full restaurant zoning. We've had statement from the neighbors in support of the project, though with concerns about the outside stage. The project has support of the CDC, the councilperson, and city planning. So conditionally, the hours will be 7 days a week, operating from 11:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. with extended hours for the interior operation Friday and Saturday to 1 a.m. The outdoor stage, which is typical of what we usually do for entertainment venues that have outside stages, the hours will be limited during the weekdays to 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. on the Friday and Saturday and nights. And I believe that's it for the conditions. Is there any further discussion from the board on the conditions?
I think you got them all.
All right. So with that, I move that we approve calendar number 23-077.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Board Member Holzer, I second.
Ms. Holzer with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Vaith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Calendar 23-077 is granted conditionally. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your support.
I'm a
Thank
big
you.
fan of putt-putt, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next project.
Our next case is calendar number 23-050. This is at 4145 East 120th Street. Jessica Hill proposes to establish use as a residential facility for 5 occupants in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 2. This case was postponed from April 3rd by the board to allow time for the appellant to meet with the councilman and the Development Corporation. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Okay, thank you. I am swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, say I do, state your name and your address. Is there an appellant here for case 23050? See anyone on the line?
No, I do not. If you're on the phone, please use *6 to unmute yourself.
No call-in users.
Yes.
No, I'm saying I don't see any call-in users.
Right.
Do we have any cases after this?
Yes.
Okay, we'll
We
move
can
to the
loop
next one.
back.
Yeah, we'll move to the next one.
Madam Chair, if I could ask, this is Liz, calendar 23-062, I don't believe is going to have as much testimony as the Fulton. I'm not sure if you might want to get that one out of the way first,
That's fine.
of course, to you.
Yep, that's fine. We can go to that one. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Olson.
All right, our next case is calendar number 23-062. This is at 1416 West 57th Street. Corey Eischen proposes to change a 2-story masonry church to a 3-family residence in a B12 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. This case was postponed from May 1st due to a change in the adjudication. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Thank you. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply I do, state your name and your address, please.
I do. Corey Eischen, 2550 Detroit Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44113.
I do. Andrea Salemi, 2516 Detroit Avenue, apartment 301, Cleveland, Ohio.
Thank you. Anyone else for this case? Okay, Madam
No.
Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we only found that in 1969, a permit was issued to erect a chain link fence. And then in the more recent history, we found a certificate of disclosure stating that the authorized use of the property is as a church. And that's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Legal standard, please. I don't see it on the screen, so hopefully you all have it.
I just think I have a copy. There are copies. There we go. Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and area variance from the required rear yard, minimum lot size, minimum lot width, and maximum gross floor area, as well as parking requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without a variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose of the and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will, 1, create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, 2, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and 3, that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Aishin, tell us what you'd like to do.
Good morning. This is Corey Aishin, and we're changing the church that was a abandoned building prior to us buying it to a three family residential property. It'll have 2 units up top and a unit below. And yeah, so currently we're requesting this variance. So yeah, it is a historical property. So structurally, we're not able to change the exterior of the building at all. It has been disrepair, so we are repairing the exterior to bring it back to what it originally looked like, just with painting it and bringing it back up to its original look on the exterior. And then Andrea is gonna jump in here and talk a little bit more about the project.
Hi, everyone. This is Andrea Salemi, representing Forest City Restoration. Yeah, so we're excited. When we bought the property, it was not shortly approved as a historical landmark. So it's our goal to keep that historic architecture on the exterior and interior as much as possible. We're not proposing any structural changes, just kind of splitting it down the middle, 2 units up top, and then 1 large 2-bedroom garden unit at the bottom. We are not targeting Airbnb. We want long-term tenants. Talking to residents on the street, some of the Airbnbs have been disruptive, and we would agree. We want long-term tenancy for this project.
Okay, can you talk about the parking? Are you looking to have all parking waived or?
Excellent question. So as you can see, the lot in the front there, with added variance, we're open to what's best for the city and the area. I know it's growing, so parking could get congested. So we're thinking if you want or need the parking spaces up front for 2, we could do that, but we're unsure of, the guidelines there.
Do you own that lot?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
This is Corey Aishin again. Also, the getting two parking spots in the front of the church would be a little bit difficult. There are utility lines that would block a driveway path, and then just the historic fabric of it. We were
Yeah, you
willing
wouldn't
to
be
do
allowed
it,
to do
but
that anyway, so
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
that's
Yeah,
not even gonna
that's
happen,
what
so
we
you don't have to
figured.
worry about that part.
Yeah.
That's what we figured.
Okay. I think we got most of
I'd
what
like
we
to
need
see
for
them.
the project. City planning?
Maurice Rowland, City Planning. So this is a little bit out of order. Normally, something like this would go to the Landmarks Commission first, but because they wanted to make sure that they could actually do this before they went to the Landmarks Commission to see the use of the building. So we agreed to go this route. This building has been vacant for many, many years. Because there is no parking on the site, as you can see, it's an existing condition. There's really no place to put a legal parking space on the site. It wouldn't be permitted in the front because it would violate the setback on the side. There's really just room for a driveway, which again, we don't permit parking. So we would be okay with waiving the parking requirements. One of the other, probably two of the other variances are basically as a result of changing the use. One is the area requirements from a church to apartments. And the other one is the rear yard. That's an existing condition, so we can't do anything about it. And I would agree with Councilwoman Spencer's email, which is up on the screen now, saying that although she would have liked to have seen parking for this project, the fact that there simply is nothing, there's no way to get parking for this project, and they have tried to secure parking from other lots in the area. She agrees that this should move forward and that we should approve this. It's much better to have this building back in a productive use than sitting vacant. So we would move approval.
Thank you. And just for a note, I would say if it's possible for you to get a couple of spots in that parking lot, go ahead and do it, but we will not make that a condition considering that there is absolutely no parking around here anyway, so.
Well, where will people park?
Well, there is on-street parking, Madam Chair, Maurice Rowland, there is on-street parking obviously in the area, and I believe Detroit Shoreway also has some public parking spaces right off of Detroit, and this is actually not far from that at all.
That's true.
There are other alternatives in the area.
Also, if I might weigh in, I don't know the options for an easement on the left side of the property to open up a driveway as a possibility. But again, I'm glad the Landmarks Commission is here to let us know if that's even an option for the exterior.
They'll probably say no, but I don't know about Landmarks, but you have to go to Landmarks and find out about that. We'll just adjudicate the cases in front of us today.
Very good.
Madam
Okay,
Chair?
Yes.
I do have 3 letters of opposition. If you'd like me just to read their concerns.
Yes, please.
And I won't read the whole letters, of course. The first one is from Rick Foran. He says, as a real estate developer committed to revitalizing the urban neighborhoods through adaptive reuse and historic preservation, he writes today regarding the variance. He's concerned about the lack of adequate parking in this micro neighborhood, given dramatic increases in construction and new commercial activity. Certainly, it can be argued that an increasing number of people are using bicycles and mass transit to get to these commercial locations. So variance could be considered if judiciously approved. However, residential developments should be more strictly enforced. According to the code, invariably, residents typically have at least one automobile, even if they use public transportation. And when they have visitors, it adds to congestion. Since there's no dedicated parking for the commercial tenants, they believe that this particular owner should be required to provide parking. The next letter is from Kevin Vogel. He says, a cursory view of the satellite images shows that West 57th Street is already more densely populated with cars than the surrounding streets due to multi-tenant housing without adequate parking. Another church which often has overflow parking and commercial buildings. The road is commonly used as a throughway to Detroit that does not have speed bumps, traffic lights, or roundabouts. People often drive recklessly, well in excess of the speed, and he asks that you deny the request. And the next one is from Megan Brown. She also, she cites concerns about it being used as an Airbnb. It has been mentioned in passing that there was a strong possibility that the units at 1416 West 57th would be developed only to be used as Airbnbs. She's opposed to the block being bought up and developed only by companies that have tenants for a few days at a time without real investment. And she also goes on to talk about parking being an issue, and that she would not be happy about additional units with no parking, especially if they would in any way be used as Airbnbs. And she also asks that you deny the variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I have a question. Do we have, and I can't see on the plan, do we have bicycle racks, bicycle parking, and what's the adjacency to public transit?
Bicycle parking is a great question. Yeah. Are you all providing any?
The first floor left unit is a shared space, and they'll be able to park their bikes there too.
Is that interior parking or exterior?
Interior.
Okay, great. All right, great. And how close are you to fixed route transit? The RTA line closest by? Do you know?
There is a bus stop right around the corner, right on
It'll be
Detroit.
the Detroit line. It's the
Okay.
Detroit line closest. one.
Great. Good. Okay. I think that mitigates some of the parking concerns in addition to the fact that Detroit Shareway has public parking fairly close by. And you've testified that you have no intention of using this as an Airbnb. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. That's all I had.
If there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. Madam Chair, calendar number 23-062 has support of the councilperson, and Mr. Rulins has testified that city planning supports. The building has been vacant for quite some time and has fallen into disrepair. So this project on a historical building will rejuvenate the building, and the intent is to have 2 units on the first floor with a garden unit below, and we have talked about the fact that they're going to have bike parking since there is no adequate, there's no parking on site, and that there is parking with the Westtown public parking adjacent. And it's also easily accessible to public transit. So other than that, the other variances are pretty standard. So with that being said, I move that we go ahead and approve calendar number 23-062.
Member Brown, I second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Olter?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Brett?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-026 is granted. It'll be ratified on June 5th, and then we will send the appellant a letter.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right, next case.
Next case is calendar number 23-054. This is at 2906 Fulton Road. Carib Development LLC proposes to erect an addition and expand use from bakery and restaurant to include a party center in a G1 local retail business district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. This case was postponed from April 10th at the request of the city to allow time for the appellant to meet with the community. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Brown for the oath.
Are you all here?
Yes, ma'am.
Please
Yes.
come up to the front.
Oh, we gotta go there.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
just right here.
Just in the front row.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we have a
Thank you.
microphone up here. We want to be able to hear you.
You can,
Yeah,
you're
you-
welcome to sit
You're
in the
welcome to
chairs.
sit.
Want to sit down for me?
Yeah. Okay. Bad legs.
No,
I understand.
You come, everyone can sit.
Oh,
We
thank
just
you.
want you to
Yeah,
be
just we don't
closer
move
to the
forward.
microphone.
Okay.
All right. So I'm swearing you in for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? You're raising your hand. Please individually state your name, address, and say I do.
Lenilda Rodriguez, 3530 Seymour, I do.
Anna Mercado, 3530 Seymour. I do.
Hold on, you guys slow down once, like slow down. So I
sorry.
can get everybody's. So
Sorry.
Ms. Rodriguez, and then who's
Yes.
next?
Anna Mercado, Mercado, 3530 Seymour. I do.
Jeff Burgess, 3705 Seymour Avenue. I do.
Thank you.
Sandra Burgos, 2906 Fulton, Caribe. I do.
Sandra, could you spell your last name, please?
Burgos.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, did you get that?
I did, thank you.
All right, so
John Rakowskis, architect, 4352 Pro Road.
okay, virtually, are there people who would like to be sworn in?
Yes, I would like to be sworn in. My name is Lena Caro, and I'm representing the residents, my family, at 3535 Erin Avenue, and I do swear, raise my hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else, please? Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned general retail until 1979 when it was changed to local retail. I believe this is in split zoning. And the residential portion has been residential since 1929. Madam Chair, I stand corrected. It is all in the local retail business district. In our records administration office, we didn't find much. We found that in 1961, a use permit issued the use of restaurant and cafe on site. That again was in 1961. So we found that there are 2 variances on file and a calendar 03-108, and that was in 2003. A variance was granted to erect a bakery, restaurant, and office on site. But then, Madam Chair, in calendar number 07.885 in 2007, a variance was granted to erect a new retail building contrary to the area and fence requirements. And then, Madam Chair, in the more recent history, I don't see anything relevant. Just interior, exterior alterations. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, read the legal standard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and area variances from the minimum distance and parking requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship, particularly to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting of the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. to obtain the area variance. The appellant must prove that the denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who will be the spokesperson for this case?
I will be, John Rakowskis.
Okay, Mr. Rakowskis, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I have a document here that's a Board of Zoning Appeals resolution on June 18, 2012 that has approved, let's see, maybe you should just read that. It was approved for basically the use that we're asking for. Do you need a copy of that?
Yes, please. I apologize, Madam Chair. We didn't find this. Is
Can
this
I-
under the same address?
Can I get a copy?
It
as
should
well?
be,
Thanks.
should be.
This is
29
already, if.
2906.
Yeah, if there's proof that this is already an approved use. I don't.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'll read this in. Calendar number 12-63. Bree Bay Development owner and Louis Burgos appealed for a use variance and relief from a strict application of the parking and area requirements of the Cleveland zoning code for permission to expand a restaurant with addition of bakery and an entertainment center in a local retail business district on the northwest corner of Fulton Road and Seymour Avenue. Subject to the limitations of 343.01, contrary to section 349.04 regarding parking spaces. 71 were required, 50 were proposed. And also no entertainment use shall be established within 500 feet of a residential district or daycare, kindergarten, elementary or secondary school, public library, church playground, public nonprofit recreation or community center. There were conditions placed on this. Number one, there will be one off-duty police officer on site for every 75 people at an event. Number two, the public parking lot at Roberto Clemente Field will be advertised to patrons and guests as overflow parking area. The property owner will take all steps possible to encourage overflow parking off-street and into that lot. Hours of operation will close on Sunday through Thursday at midnight. Will close on Friday and Saturday at 1 a.m. There will be no gambling at the facility. The property owner and renters of the facility may not charge admission at the door for any event. The property owner will ensure that all exterior of the building and landscapings are to be kept free of litter and maintained. Property owner will ensure that the building is soundproof by all measures possible. Property owner will post signs and make conditions in the rental agreements that patrons are to be good neighbors and keep exterior noise to a minimum. City planning supported the variance, having viewed the project for rezoning of land bank property and design review aspects, determining that this additional use would be beneficial to the community. However, Madam Chair, as we know, if the permit was not issued, completed, closed, or whatever language that is that building and housing uses, then this would be considered a vacated use. So we could probably ask Mr. Riccardi. I'm not sure if he would have any information on this. And I could double check my Acela report to see if there was any indication that the permit was issued. I apologize that this didn't come up in our research. Let's see, so this was 2012. And I would assume that
Mr. Ricardis, after you got the zoning approval, there was no
Yes.
permits pulled.
All right, well, let me,
Mr. Riccardi is trying to speak.
oh, is he?
Oh, yeah, okay, go ahead, Mr. Riccardi, I'm sorry.
Yes, this is Richard Riccardi. There was no permit obtained as a result of this variance from 2012. Thank you.
So now go ahead.
So, Madam Chair, that do you have?
So that's why we're here, because they have no permits. Okay.
May I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Was the space used in that way without a permit?
No, no, because it was to erect this big addition.
Is it
In
erected?
using
We
that
saw a
first-
picture. I'm sorry.
Pardon?
No, is the building built?
That's the original building that we had. That was, I don't know, in the 2007 or something like that.
So that was torn down?
No.
It's erected.
No, that was erected. Whatever year it is, 2007, something.
So Madam Chair, Ms. Brown just stated that she was a little confused. The building that you're looking at was granted a variance in 2003 as well as 2007. So it seems in 2003, they didn't complete the permit process and close the permit and have it issued and everything. So then they applied again in 2007 to erect building. And I believe, as Mr. Rakowska said, it was erected at that time.
Okay. And then in 2012,
In 2012, after the permit was, the zoning appeals approved it, in October, we got a permit for the underground utilities for the parking lot and the foundation for that building, and do it in phases. The underground utilities, we showed that first drawing, you can see that the sewers were in there, including a retention basin. So that was approved and completed. And so we had a water pollution control permit, B131897, December 3rd, 2013. And so we got that far, and then it just became economically feasible to continue to build the building. We never did build the foundations, but we had a permit for the foundation, and we did have a permit for the sewers, and they're in. That's existing conditions right now.
Yeah.
And also we have a plaza, you can see in that current picture, it was, we got a sewer district grant to do this plaza with bioswales. It was going to be kind of a gathering space for the neighborhood. Beautiful brick front plaza.
so there's a extension to this existing building that was to be built that wasn't?
That's right.
And do we have a site plan of where or the scale or what that is?
Pretty much.
This is just showing me, there we go.
That's the addition.
Yeah,
which
it's on
is-
the screen now. They have the elevations.
Got a
I
similar,
hadn't seen this part. Thank you.
that's similar to the existing building. That's the addition. That's
I got it.
That's the addition, yeah. And yeah, it's the same construction materials going to be, and the part that's shaded there was pretty much the original scheme. Now, the original scheme was going to be entirely a party center with its own cooking facilities there, and for a much greater amount of people. And now we're proposing to have it be mostly retail. There's also a little kind of a transition space there in the middle. That little link is going to be sort of storage and a way to service the party center. And again, a party center, I'd like to really think it's like a private dining room for the restaurant. You know, it's going to be serviced by the restaurant. Maybe Sandra Burgos speak more to that. But if you want to show the next, and there's the parking with all its existing sewer districts. There's the floor plan. There's going to be 4 small retail business uses, and then this dining room, which you can see is going to be serviced by the kitchen of the bakery. There's going to be some storage there. We're providing separate toilets for this unit, and so it would be catered by the restaurant for any events. And they, again, Sandra will speak to that. They want it to be, as even before, you have that sheet, it was supposed to be family type events, you know, I mean, it was not supposed to be heavy duty party. And it's, again, it's much smaller than it was before. It's
What's the
really like
capacity proposed now?
I believe it's possibly, technically could be 90, so.
Okay.
That's how many chairs I'm showing you there, and that's really packed. It probably would never be that amount of people.
So you're gonna have the bakery sort of / restaurant that's gonna cater into the party center. The party center is gonna be capacity for like 90 people for repasts, showers,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That makes
One
Right,
second.
so where
Go ahead, Madam Chair.
any alcohol allowed on premises?
Head nod, no.
I'm sorry, what was that?
One of the people was nodding her head no.
Okay. Can we get a
And we
verbal
have
no?
Yes, verbal no, and we have a hand up, someone else wants to comment.
Madam
Right,
Chair,
I'm not,
if,
I'm not done with the, okay, everybody shut down. Okay, I'm not done with hearing about the project yet. Okay, so Mr. Rakalkis, just kind of run
Yeah.
through, like, you kind of went through it already, but just like give a full summary of like, you know, what are your days of operation gonna be, the hours, what will be allowed in the party center, and those kind of things.
I think, Sandra, do you want to address that? Hours,
The hours on the.
Can you
the
speak
facility-
louder, please?
Okay, the hours in the facility will be like, because it's a family, going to be till 11, no more than that. And
Opening time?
Actually, it's because, it's a family, ordinance, and I think so, and week should be to 10, but Friday, Saturday, we can to 11.
And what time will you open?
They used to use from 11 noon.
Okay, we'll say 11. Are you getting this, Madam Chair? Can you
I heard
hear me?
11, I heard 11, I didn't hear the closing time.
Okay, so,
11 p.m.
yeah, 11 PM.
Okay,
We can go with the hours.
And that's Monday through Friday?
Yeah, we allowed to work with the hours.
I'm sorry?
We allowed to work with the hours. I mean, we can have to short hour, we can be short hours.
When we do the variance, we have to have the fixed time. So right now, we have you as opening at 11 and staying open till 11.
Okay.
Do you need to be earlier in the morning?
Tell her she can do less.
Yeah, you can do less, you can't do more.
Okay, well, can be from, let's say, from 2 to 11 night,
Yeah, you're
11 in the morning. Yeah, for lunch.
11 in the morning is early enough?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. So we've got 11 to 11, Madam Chair.
11. All right, and those days are all week?
Monday through Friday, or all week, 7 days? Just in case you have funerals or
In
something?
case, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, exactly, because
Yeah.
that's people asking more for funerals.
right.
Family reunions.
So accommodating repasts and that sort of thing, so 7 days. And no alcohol.
No alcohol, and max number of seats will be 90, correct?
Yes, right? 90 seats.
Excuse me. Wait 1 minute.
And typically, we do ask for security on site. But
Yeah, that's,
often,
we can keep, I think we can keep the old conditions
old-
from the first, from the variant, yeah,
Yeah.
the 2012. We can keep those.
Okay, so one security.
All right, and who was the young lady I was just talking about that?
Renee, Sandra,
Sandra.
Lucas, Burgess. Sorry.
Did you get that, Madam
She
Chair?
is with Carib
Yeah.
Development, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it.
That was
Okay.
Sandra.
All right, so I'll start off with Ms. Rodriguez. Would you like to speak?
Oh, yes. Okay. Don't mind me the way I speak, but I'm gonna say what I feel, okay? I feel no. Okay? Because I moved in there on 88, and we had a lot of drug problems. They used to be, doing shots and all that, And like it's been good so far. So by having a party center, I know it's gonna create more animosity. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the man from that's in charge of the bakery, the supervisor. Okay, there's a driveway on my side of the house, okay, on Seymour, okay? And when I went to him to complain, okay, about the gravel that he did on the sidewalk, okay, it went and messed up my car on the side. My whole car's messed up. Okay, I went to him. What he answered me was, it wasn't his problem, that was my problem. Okay? So I got upset and I told my daughter. And I said, wait a minute, this is not right. So if they're going like this, what else is gonna happen? Everything that happens then is not their problem, is our problem? No, we don't want no problems. We wanna leave it the way it is. They could open up stores, but they don't have to have that, what is it, the party center.
Party center.
Okay? That's all. I'm against the party center. They could build whatever they want that is, reasonable. But no party center. Because that's all gonna bring, people say they're not gonna have liquor. I'm sorry. In a party center, people still take liquor in. Because I have taken it in other party centers. Okay? Just because you say no, yes, they do. Okay? And then when people get drunk, what happens? Okay? They think they're big macho man and the women think they're big and all they do is want to fight. Okay? Burn rubber. Okay? And I don't like it. And that now is all shooting. It ain't got nothing to do with talking, fist fighting. Now it's everything shooting. That's what I'm against. And I like it the way it is. Quiet. Plus we have the park. Kids go to the park. They pass through there all hours. I'm scared of the kids. You gotta think about the kids.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. All right, we have Ms. Mercado next.
Yes, ma'am. So first I want to give you a little history. I moved into the area with my mother in 1988. I did move out, but I do come to my mom's house every day, visit her, check on her, and check, on what's going on in the neighborhood. So previously, I was in opposition as well to this variance request that they had made for the party center. So all along, we have been in opposition, and we had collected a few signatures at that time for the opposition and submitted it back then when the gentleman gave you the paperwork on it. So I do recall there were a few residents that I was speaking to for this current variance who mentioned that they were in support of them at that time. But since then, they feel that the Bakery Caribe has not kept up with their commitment to the community in regards to the developing. So as you can see in the photographs, the property has been undeveloped all these years. Throughout these years, it has been nothing but a dirt landscape that kicks up a lot of dust, causes a lot of issues within the community. As my mother mentioned, part of the fencing, it was supposed to be a wrought iron fencing. All they did was put up wood posts with slats and made it look like a corral at a Western movie. I don't have an issue with that. I understand that people, maybe run out of funds and don't have the ability to keep their prior commitment. But I believe if you made a commitment, you should have insured the funds prior to that so you can follow through with what you say. So that shows me that you are not acting in good faith. So the next thing, if you can look at the fencing here, there was an opening prior to these photographs. There was an opening right here between these two electric posts. There's nothing but gravel. So they never took care of the road to make an apron, a concrete apron into and out of their parking lot, because there was never supposed to be a parking lot entrance there in the first place. So when they put up this fencing, they intentionally left the opening so that people can come in and out of their space under the thought that this was a driveway. So then, needless to say, over the years, this gravel has caused, and I have video of it prior to them closing off the fence. If you'd like to see the video, I'll be welcome to share it. I have video that the gravel over the years has made nothing but a big hole. And this one particular winter, many cars got stuck in there when they were spinning their tires. I had purchased my mom a brand new car in 2018 because she does a lot for me. She drives my children back and forth.
Hey, Ms. Mercado, I don't
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
interrupt you, but please just keep your comments to the actual use of the party center and how you feel about that and the extension of the building.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just talking on the fact that they don't keep their word, that they don't follow through with their commitments. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So that was another thing, that they don't follow through with their commitments. The next thing I also wanted to speak on was that the people in the neighborhood have many issues with parking. With all due respect, I believe that the parking is insufficient. If you have 4 businesses, which they're proposing, in addition to a party center with 96 occupants, that's in the diagram that he showed, in addition to the restaurant and the bakery, so you have basically 7 small operations running at one time. And with the hours of 11 till 11 p.m., the amount of parking spaces they're allocating is absolutely insufficient if you have all operations running at one time. So with that is said, with their hours and the amount of traffic and people coming through, it's already limited parking for the area. Many homes within this area do not have driveways, so they have to utilize street parking. And once you have 7 operations running at one time, it's going to be difficult to fit them all in this little space that they're proposing. So now they're going to use the limited space within the area. And considering that most of the area is occupied by seniors, I even have an older lady named Annie who lives 2 houses over. She's going to be 101, and she signed the opposition letter as well. You know, her area, she has a handicap parking space in front of her house in the event that one of her family members come to take her to a doctor's appointment and whatnot. And I explained to her that she doesn't own the street parking, but she does like to have that available for her, so when she needs someone to come pick her up, take her to appointments and so forth. So these are little things that we're concerned about within the area. And also, as we said in our opposition letter here, with the fact of alcohol. So she mentioned, Mrs. Burgos mentioned that they were not going to serve alcohol or permit alcohol. And I find that quite difficult for someone to make sure that it does not happen, because you may be able to tell your rental, the people you're renting to or leasing to, you may be able to tell them that no alcohol is to be consumed on the premises. They may not be able to enforce that, and they may just have the alcohol in the parking lot or in their vehicle, so they'll go in and out, or if not, bring it in. So my experience for party centers and alcohol go hand in hand, whether it's liquor, beer, or whatever type of alcohol, wine. So that becomes an issue. The traffic is an issue. People just speed up and down this little narrow street. So Seymour Avenue and Erin Avenue, you'll have parking on the left and the right of the street, and you only have 1 lane in the middle for cars to drive through. So the congestion of traffic is going to severely increase. due to the increase of businesses and the party center in that little area. I mentioned the beautification. Unfortunately, they're not taking up with beautifying or keeping their area cleaned and maintained. There's plenty of times their patrons will sit outside on the street or in the area. They'll eat their food or whatever they consume, and they'll throw their trash on our front lawns. So we as residents, to not see our neighborhood trashed, we have to go out there personally and pick up after their clients, their customers, and clean up after them. So we find that to be an issue as well. So also, I don't want to take too much time because I know we're in a time crunch and everyone has the opportunity to speak. I would like to submit a letter in opposition as well that was given to me from a resident. Unfortunately, she gave it to me a little bit too late, so I couldn't submit it by the deadline, but I'd like to submit it to the board now if possible. Okay.
You can give it to
Yeah,
me.
you can give it to Ms. Kukla. Yep.
Thank you.
There you go.
So I have been.
Ms.
I have been-
McCardle, okay, I want to give other people a chance to speak, so can you wrap up, please?
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. I have been in the neighborhood for a long time, since 1988. When we moved in, it was primarily residential. I understand that they want to build a legacy for their family by increasing their business, but I feel, as many other people that I had signed this petition, I feel that a party center is not the right fit because there's at least 7 other party centers within our area in less than a mile. At least 7, and that's the few that I counted. So I'm sure there may be a few more. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you, Ms.
All right,
Mercado.
thank you. I have Mr. Burgess next.
Hi, Madam Chairman. I fully confirm everything that was said. Let me just do a little bit of backstory. So we started the Block Club in 2020. I coordinate Ward 3. We're split between Ward 3 and Ward 14. I am against this. Miguel LaBoy, who coordinates Ward 14, is against this. And I have never seen the club as unified against an issue as this. And we went through the whole Clark Fulton Together master plan. The club was formed to go through this master planning process. We were the #1 group in attendance for the master plan. This was not spoken of during that. It would have been a good time to go through this to engage the community. We found out about it, a letter in the mail. And there's a lot of good faith stuff along the way that really hasn't been met along the way. And, you know, I'm going to try to keep this tight, but there is a lot we can say about this. And then we have offered to restart the whole plan, engage the community, and do something that the community is in support of. We're not saying no, we want a gravel parking lot. We need a smart development, a mindful development. This is not one. And there is a track record, as Anna was saying, of what was done in the past and you know, what was followed through upon, what worked in the previous plan. And the situation is overloaded as it is now, overrun with parking, facilities not kept up right, and we're trying to load more traffic into it. And I realize, you know, there's the park. I live right across the street from the park. I see this stuff every day right outside my front door. It's not realistic to think that people are going to use that parking lot. Instantly, we have cars parked on both sides of the road, 1 lane of traffic. We have kids coming through. We have traffic coming in from Fulton. It is, you know, not to use bad language, but it is a cluster now. And then we are adding, you know, just overloading the area. This is not a party center area. Couple other, I would ask that we see this for fresh eyes. I know we're trying to, you know, refer to this earlier situation. The neighborhood, again, has organized since then. And you realize it takes a while for the neighborhood to organize. And again, it's a full bore against this project. And then I'll finish up right now real quick. So, and then let me just say this. So I know Sandra, I know John, we're friends from before this. We host our meetings at the Caribe in the wintertime. There was no bias against this. We all know each other. It's just the differences came with this party center plan. Initially, I was the first one. I'm the coordinator to make the rounds to see what people think. Initially, I was open-minded to this, and again, we all know each other. And I met with John and Anna, and I said, look, I think the situation at Seymour with truck traffic here has got to be changed, because it just turns Seymour into a truck traffic loading zone. It just, again, totally overloads the situation. There's a drive on the south west side, an opening that's across from Mary Ann Dolly's house, next to Miguel. I said, this probably, if you can remove this, if we can get the trucks off the street, maybe this will fly. Then I went around, and there was just absolutely, even with those changes, it was a hard no vote. But, again, back to this good faith issue, we still, haven't had any. The Seymour Avenue is the same plan. There have not been any adjustments or concessions made whatsoever. And I don't even think that fundamentally this would pass through the neighborhood anyway. But still, if this goes through now, we have a runway strip loading zone on Seymour. It trounces those houses. And then, like I said, we don't have enough parking. I think this needs to fully go back to the drawing board. And I think the neighborhood would support a project if we went back to the drawing board and then engage the community. It just can't pass as is right now.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you. I have Ms. Carl next.
Yes, hello, thank you. I'm Lena Caro, and I'm here representing my family who lives less than 100 feet across the street on Erin Avenue. And I have written a letter, and I hope you've had a chance to review it. I trust that you will, so I won't have to go over it very much. But I'd like to affirm Ms. Mercado's presentation and Mr. Burgess's as well. And basically, I think what we're hearing here is that there's a lack of trust because of the way that the bakery has conducted itself. And there have been problems. My mother is 97 years old. She lives across the street. My brother is in his 60s, so it's all senior citizens, and he lives and takes care of her. And the idea of it's the nature of the activities that a party center would bring to a residential neighborhood. And that is why in my letter, I feel that I think a party center would be a great idea in the general commercial zone. It really, I don't know about the 2012 issue. I don't understand that. It seems like a pretty shaky basis to base this on, especially since there's no evidence of it. But I do feel that it's going to promote crime. It's going to promote, I grew up there. We have lived in that house since 1961. I live in California now. I am doing this for my family. It is not a rich neighborhood, obviously. Just even having Wi-Fi is difficult. So I feel that I'm here to represent them. The noise is pretty intense there. Their house shakes every time there's a delivery. I sent a couple of photos to you attached to my letter. I have much better photos now, and I need to make a little correction in my letter that said that a delivery truck hit this pole. It actually was way too high, coming down my little residential, formerly brick street. It's a very narrow street. I think it's narrower than Seymour, as I recollect. And we get trucks this big coming by to do deliveries all the time. And they clipped and took out the cables overhead. And that took 2 utility poles down. My mother's fence was never properly corrected. No one has the ability to bring litigation for these things. And so really, you know, what kind of a city are we looking at these days? I noticed there's a big change in it, and I think that some of it's great, but let's let the residents who have contributed to this community for so long be allowed to live in their homes in peace. And I feel that a party center is absolutely, the nature of a party center is very different than the nature of a bakery. And as it is, the bakery is already causing disruption. Their dumpsters are overflowing. I have pictures of that now. I couldn't get all the pictures in time for the new deadline. But if you want them, I can give them to you. And I feel that even if they're not going to have alcohol at this point, there's nothing to stop them from grandfathering that in. And I think that there is this feeling of mistrust. And I think that relationship with the neighborhood obviously needs to be improved. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you'll consider this wonderful, well-crafted variance opposition letter that the neighborhood pulled together, and it's not easy to get that. So please consider our concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing real quick.
Madam Chair?
No, I have not called on you, so hold on, sir. Want to make sure that everyone on the list has spoken one time. So I think I've heard from everyone. And who needed one more thing to say?
Yeah, Madam Chairman, real quick.
Say your name.
Jeff Burgess. One thing I forgot to add. So I interned with Maurice here at the planning department and Bob Brown in 1993. I forgot to bring that up. So I do have some planning background. I consult with Bob Brown a lot because the Block Club is involved in other development issues. And I did email Ms. Kukla Bob's response to the city code and whatnot, and he did not feel that there was a solid basis, for asking for this appeal. And I just want to get that on the record.
Thank you. All right, so I think I've heard from
Madam Chair, Mrs. Rodriguez is asking to make one more comment. But wait, Madam Chair has to say.
Mrs. Rodriguez, go ahead, but please make it brief.
Okay, the only thing I want to say is the park from the place, it's less than 500 feet. Okay, and the park is called what? The Roberto Clemente Park, and I don't think it's the distance. It's not far enough.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All
Back
right.
to you.
We've heard from everyone on the list. We'll go to city planning now.
Maurice Rollins, city planning. This is a tough one. We didn't know about the previous approval, although they didn't pull permits and there's no certificate of occupancy. So from what I've been told, that really is kind of a moot point at this point. I have to agree with the neighborhood and the community in this particular instance. Putting a party center in the middle of a residential neighborhood can be problematic. So I go to the aerial here, but you're really inserting it right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. I think it's one thing when we put party centers and they're fronting on a commercial street, and there may be neighborhood behind it, but when you're intruding into the neighborhood like this, there is going to be a tremendous impact to the houses on either side of the project, on Aaron and on Seymour Avenue. You're going to get truck traffic in there. You're going to get, a lot of car traffic pulling into the parking lot. They do seem to be providing quite a bit of parking space. So that's a good thing. But there will be overflow parking. There's no doubt about that. I also wonder about the site plan. I'm looking at it here, and I guess I have a question of, I see delivery here in the middle. Does that mean the trucks are going to be hanging out on the street or just pulling up on this kind of this little bit of a cutout here? It seems like that would be much better if it was actually internal to their own property, where the trucks would pull into the parking lot and unload there instead of doing it right on the street. That's a bad condition. I wonder if there's actually enough room here for the dumpsters, seems like a relatively small enclosure, for use this big. So I do have some problems with it. I really don't think I can recommend approval on this. It would be great if the community and the applicant could get together and maybe work this out a little bit further to a point of a resolution. That would make me very happy. Because we do want the applicant to be successful. We don't want to lose their business in this neighborhood. We very much value our businesses. So I think it would be great if we could get everybody together and maybe work something out and take a closer look at this site plan and maybe modify it, maybe change the use, I'm not sure. But I think if they could take into account the neighborhood and their comments, I think a decent solution could probably be arrived at.
So are you
Okay,
suggesting?
so you're saying,
I cannot support it. I cannot support it in its current,
okay,
not with all of the pushback from the neighborhood. I mean, we have a letter here with quite a few signatures on it. Everybody is opposed to this project. I just feel like it would be doing a disservice to the neighborhood without taking this down the road and maybe doing a little bit more work with the neighborhood and taking into their account their comments.
Madam Chair,
yes.
Sandra Burgess from Caribe Development has her hand up.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. When they did the General Family Dollar, that's the same thing the neighbor did. We all get together and the same people signed to not come through. And I see that General Dollar today is a big business and successful for the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Okay, is that all you wanted to say?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Maurice, we have not in this current state, we have not approval from CPC. So board, do you have any questions or comments for the applicants?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. There's lots of materials that we have before us. Is there a letter from the two council people? He said this is split between 14 and 3.
This is the only.
Yeah, I saw one from McCormick. Yeah, I saw one from McCormick, I think.
Okay, I haven't read it, so I will do that. Thank you.
I haven't seen anything from Councilman McCormick, however, we did.
Oh, no, this is from Santana. Okay, sorry.
Right, and she's not taking a position, she's just calling out to our attention the level of opposition from the residents.
Okay,
So-
so there's no support or an unsupport on either direction.
Correct, opposition or support, neither.
Unsupport, I like that.
Madam Chair, the architect has his hand up.
Yeah,
You have to hear from the
Okay.
chair.
That's that, Mr. Rockakis?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to address a few things. First of all, that one that's right up there, that drawing is something that he has been working on. We actually have been meeting with the Department of Streets, believe it or not. We're required to replace the curbs and wherever sidewalks on Seymour. We've been talking about this for a long time, and this drawing represents something that we go ahead, we will be doing. It's providing tree lawn, parking and delivery. In response to some other comments, where there's apparently right now still some gravel in that tree lawn. There is no parking on that side of the street. Parking is only on the north side of Seymour. And so it's really more, in some cases, I guess, Sandra verified that there's actually residents that are parking on that side of the street too. Maybe that's why the gravel is hitting a car. So we would like to address that delivery with getting it out of the traffic lanes as one solution.
Madam Chair, may I ask a few questions?
Yes, please.
Is the bakery open now?
No.
And thank you. And then, have you had any community meetings to propose the continuation of the plan?
Yes, it was in my bakery. Everybody was.
No, but a meeting to talk about the plan and operations, just as Mr. Rukaka, I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong, just talked about meeting with the city to talk about service and delivery and dumpsters. Have you talked about that plan with your neighbors?
They was in my place when they made the meeting. They made the meeting in my place.
No, they have meetings. Do
In my
you present your project to them?
Yeah, when they came to the bakery.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe you've had meetings, maybe there has not been sufficient evidence that you heard their complaints and made changes to your plan. Those are things that we cannot regulate with the zoning. So I am uncomfortable approving this without further conversation in the community. And I would ask that you not ask for a vote today, but that you take time to meet with the community about the project. And then it doesn't mean that everybody will be happy or that everybody will agree, but it says that there will be a full vetting and discussion. And then you come back to the board. That's my suggestion.
Yes, we was a meeting to dance at the bakery. And like I said, when they did the meeting for the Family Dollar,
Yes.
they did a bakery. For any other occasion, they do, they come to the bakery, they do
Yes.
the meeting, the council, they do meeting, not only for that project, for many projects.
Yes.
They come, the council come, he is the president. I allow him to use my bakery or the dining room to do like many stuff he do.
No problem. Has your architect attended those meetings
Yes.
with you to present?
Yes, the last two times.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, then
We
you're
did.
doing what I asked.
Yeah, we did.
Madam Chairman, just one follow-up on the meeting comment, Jeff Burgess. We
Wait.
did,
The chairman's on screen, sir. So.
Yeah.
yeah, the vote,
Mr. Burgess,
Sorry.
if I have
The
not
vo-
called on you, please do not speak, okay, sir? All right. Ms. Brown, did you get all your questions answered?
I did, Madam Chair. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Burgess, go ahead.
Yeah, a note on the community meeting. So the Block Club called the meetings, and the formal meeting that we had to take a vote, it was 11-1 against, and the one vote for was Cassandra Burgos, who lives in the neighborhood, Sandra's daughter. So it was 11-1 against.
No, that's not the question, though. In the meetings, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, did you receive site plans and all of that?
Yes.
Yeah, there were fundamental problems with those, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, board, any other questions?
Madam Chair, to city planning, have we had a city planner engaged in this process on this project?
I don't think so. We, I think we have a new, neighborhood planner for this region. She really hasn't been engaged.
Who was the predecessor? Brittany is, this is Brittany's?
Neighborhood planner.
Okay.
She was more likely to support this project than I was, although she has not been, I don't believe she's been involved in the process because she only started a couple of weeks ago.
Right, but her predecessor was not either.
That would be Matt Ross. but I
Right.
don't believe he was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we have no comment from, who's the CDC for this area?
You know, that I don't know.
Metro West.
Metro West. Okay. So, Madam Chair, my take on this is sort of along the lines of Mr. Ruland's statement. and that it's, as we kind of like to say, maybe not fully cooked yet. In this sort of situation, we like to have all parties, engaged, council, CDC, city planning, and more for the benefit of the appellant, so that there's some guidance in going through the process, and that it's professional, and everything is pulled together. So a business plan, all the questions addressed from the community, and garnering support from council, CDC, block clubs, all of that. So, as to Ms. Brown's point, you may not always make everybody happy, but you have an opportunity for everybody to offer input and help bring the package together, which is what I feel is, lacking at this point. In looking at the existing conditions, there's a parking lot that you testified has drainage, but doesn't look particularly well kept. There's testimony that the fencing isn't really up to snuff. There's gravel on the apron. Curb cuts are missing. There's some things that city planning could really assist in guiding you through that and making everything look better and bring the project to a better standing point. And just things like hours and security and how you're going to manage the food and what the actual seating numbers are going to be and how you're going to address the probable infiltration of alcohol, those sorts of things. Those all need to be pulled together in a package, to my mind. So I feel like voting on this today would be premature. And that's where I'm at, Madam Chair.
I don't know. I feel like the cake is baked here. But if as the board members, if you all want to proceed with postponing, then you can make that motion to do so.
Ms. Brown? Does Ms. Holzer have any input on this?
I think the fact that, we don't have anything from the CDC. I know that there were a couple of letters, or there was a letter from Councilwoman Santana's office. I'm going back and forth between recommending postponement or just taking a vote. It sounds like there is still a lot that needs to be fleshed out, as Ms. Faith mentioned. I'm going back and forth because it sounds like this was something that was previously discussed. There was a it was approved previously, but now we're having to redeliberate all over again. I think that if the owner, the appellant, is leaning towards a postponement, I would probably move in that direction and recommend it. But it doesn't sound like there is going to be favorable outcome with a vote at this point.
Madam Chair, we do have somebody in the audience or on the call, or Nick DeLeon has his hand raised.
He hasn't been sworn.
Nick DeLeon.
He was not sworn in, and we need to move toward a decision here. So is this
Right.
Is something really pertinent to the case?
Well, I was just saying that I'm a representative of Metro West. So I was saying the CDC was.
Then we need to.
Okay, well, you need to be sworn in then. If you're from you need to be sworn in if you're from the CDC.
Sir, do you swear or affirm that your testimony that you're going to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, state your name, your address, and say I do.
Nick DeLeon.
Okay.
I do. an address of what, the CDC, 3167
Yes,
Fulton Road?
Yes, that's just fine. Thank you.
No, I
ahead.
was just going to say that there was a meeting held. We had representatives there. I believe it was 3 weeks back. Some of the concerns that are being, shared today were the same ones that were shared then, and the site plans and everything else. There have been no kind of adjustments to that, so we didn't really feel comfortable in supporting as it stands. We are willing to facilitate more meetings if that's something that the residents of the neighborhood are willing to do to really come to a consensus. I was in support of seeing some additional retail spaces there, but I'm also in agreement that a party center or something nestled into a residential area could be disruptive. But I would like to see some changes to that parking lot and maybe some additional retail that is needed in the neighborhood. But so if it is something that's postponed until there's further engagement, until it comes to a consensus, we're willing to facilitate those and host those.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Secretary Kukla has just handed me construction drawings, blueprints from 8/9 of 07, showing the plan view, particularly for the parking lot, showing marked parking spaces, landscaped tree lawn, and
Yeah,
new
I have those
curb
plans.
cuts. Okay, so none of that's come to fruition. So, but that being said, we have a business owner in this neighborhood that is, has been friendly to the block club, and is in that regard, to being a business owner, an asset to the neighborhood. So that's my updated comment.
Okay, well, for the faction that feels like this needs to be postponed, if that's how you feel, and you should, make a motion to postpone the case and we can find a date. If not, we need to move forward with the vote. So, I just need to hear from the postponement folks on whether you feel like we need to or not.
Yeah. I mean, Madam Chair, and to the appellant, following this comment about the plans in the past that did not come to fruition, I believe we should postpone and you should present and give a timeline to the community and a new plan on what you're proposing. I want to support your business and your success. And because things didn't happen in the past doesn't mean something won't happen in the future. So a clear description that everyone can be held accountable for. The conversation of the party center, we know, is going to be met with opposition. But maybe there are things that you could talk about in terms of operations and other assurances that could make it, and other benefits, other changes that could bring people together. But without that conversation, I don't think you have that opportunity. So that is why I am encouraging it rather than you risk a vote that would end it today. So with that, Madam Chair, I move that we, Madam Chair, are you asking us?
Continue.
Okay.
Yeah, no, continue.
Then I move that we postpone calendar number 23-054 to allow the appellant, the CDC, to organize additional conversation with the community and come back with a plan and a timeline for what the appellant proposes on their property.
And I would make a friendly amendment to that, Madam Chair, that we also include the city planner.
Oh,
So that
yes,
we
thank
have,
you.
we have guidance, from that level.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
And I second.
Okay, go ahead, call the roll on that.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
I believe I heard her say yes. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
No.
Okay. We still have 3 board members that voted for the postponement. So should we give them more than 30 days? Should we give them into
Yes.
July?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So
45 at least.
Yeah.
okay, so that'll be more towards the middle of July, so July 10th or July 17th?
17th, I think.
July 17th then, Madam Chair, does that sound all right to you?
That works.
All right. So this case, calendar 23-054 is postponed to July 17th. So Madam Chair, just to recap really quick, it is incumbent upon the appellant to pull together the meeting, or are we asking the Development Corporation?
It's
How-
the appellant needs to contact the CDC to help them pull all this together.
Thank you.
And we're asking city planning to be involved.
Correct. Mr. De Leon, are you still with us?
Yes. We can schedule some time to meet with the appellant and
Great.
schedule out some meeting dates.
I think it would be beneficial if you could be point person and help expedite this or facilitate it, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, folks. We're
All right,
done.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, thanks
Thank you.
everyone
Bye.
that came in person, and thanks for everyone
Yes.
that's virtual. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Quick question, since this is new, so now that it's postponed, do I have to create another letter and collect more signatures? Or does what we already have good?
It's already part of the testimony.
So we get more because we only got the round
Can we add
area.
to it then?
Yeah.
You know, go further out.
Go to the meeting and hear and see if there's something you're supporting.
Well, we participated in already 2 meetings
But
that
you
were
may
held.
have something new to say.
Oh, we are going to, trust me, I would,
But-
I believe you.
we are going to.
This is the first time
But I just
I
needed
have
to know.
ever got anything about any meeting. Jeff said he had sent, I said, Jeff, no, you didn't. Right, Jeff? I told you,
Right.
you never
Ladies
sent me
and
no flyers or
Thank
nothing.
you. We
It'll
need
be
to
fine.
move on.
Yes, ma'am.
We need to move on to our next case.
We're
Thank
done.
you.
We're done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
You have
and
a
have
great
a
day.
nice evening.
Yeah,
And
thank
take
you.
it easy.
We need to loop back to 23050.
We do. Is anyone
Yes.
in-house for that?
No, Madam
'Cause there's
Chair.
no one online.
Brittany Jones from my office contacted the applicant, and she has stated that she's withdrawing the appeal.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
case
Which
dismissed
number
and
was-
withdrawn.
So that's calendar number 23-050 regarding 4145 East 120th Street. That case has been withdrawn by the applicant.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So that
All
I
right,
think
let's
is
go
gonna
to
be
old
next.
business.
Old business.
Oops, I took it off the screen.
Oh my God, I'm freezing.
You wanna go to Jeff?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, old business 1 through 3 without objection.
Well,
Oh,
so Madam Chair, I apologize. So the green highlighted item is, if you remember, well, we've kind of looped you in on some discussions through email.
Yes.
This case it was
So that's
dismissed.
that case. Okay.
Yeah, it's that one. It was dismissed last week. And we, the council person really wants to see this be cited and possibly
Right.
taken through
Through the process.
the prosecution process. So the question is, do we hold another hearing and subpoena him and actually deny the case? So the dismissal is not as strong as a denial. And I guess I'm assuming that you would deny it. But this would be one last chance for the appellant to come and explain the case. And then you could make a final ruling on it. You know, the dismissal, it is not as strong as a denial. So that's the concern of the councilman that he didn't want.
So it's unfortunate we don't have legal advice right now, but can you remind us, Ms. Kukla, on how many times he has been a no-show? Because that's the concern.
Right.
That it continues to come, they don't come, and then we allow it again.
Right.
It's 3 because the initial time, I don't believe he was here.
Right.
And then it was postponed twice.
Yeah,
And that's on this
city planning
particular case.
And I will also say that the last time it was postponed, Xavier Bay, our staff member in the zoning section, reached out by email and phone to try to, because this project really needs to go to city planning first to get a conditional use approval, because it's in a VRO.
Right.
Retail overlay district. And he's had.
Okay, so this past no-show was the third one, Maurice? I thought it was the second. So it's the third.
I think it was the third. Liz,
Yes,
do you have
this
it
is
in the jacket?
It's my understanding that it was the third.
Because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I requested 2 postponements, so that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
3.
Right.
The initial time and then 2
then this one.
postponements.
And so
Right.
all three of these were all 3 of these no-shows from him?
Correct.
I can't remember on the first one, but I do know on the last 2, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, I
My
need 3
recollection
no-shows.
is- Yeah, my recollection is he's not showed up for any of these. Because I don't, this is our neighborhood and I don't remember this coming before us for any
Yeah, no,
testimony.
I agree, and I'm all in agreement with it. I just want to make sure that the first postponement was not because I want to make sure he has 3 no-shows on the record and not a postponement.
Maurice is checking.
Liz is
Oh,
grabbing
Liz is
the jacket right now.
So they were never dismissed because of his no-shows. The first postponement was made at the request of city planning to allow for the PRO review. No testimony, of course, was taken there.
So that doesn't count.
That doesn't
And then-
count.
Yeah, and then April 17th, again, the city planning asked for the postponement. We know for sure that he wasn't there on the April 17th to even hear about the postponement. I'm not sure if you.
What was the
saw-
rationale for that postponement?
It's been the same thing that he needed to get together with the city planning to get a conditional use
Also, he
permit
didn't
first.
meet with city planning.
He hasn't responded, he hasn't reached out, we've reached out to him, he hasn't responded. I can't verify that he was even here the first time, but he never made any comments when we asked for postponements, and I will say that the 2 postponements that I requested, he was not aware of the requests ahead of time, we simply did them at the meeting. So there was no comment made, whenever we did it, so I'm assuming he wasn't there. And we know the last time he definitely wasn't.
So do you want to give him one more shot, Kelly?
Well, this would be
Yeah,
different.
I'm torn because I feel like I need 3 no-shows, but then it's kind of sounded like he was no-showing, but the first one wasn't on him because city planning made the postponement.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling he won't show up again.
Yeah.
again.
Exactly.
So we'll
And so with the dismissal, I'm sorry to interrupt, with the dismissal, it gives him the ability to apply again with the same application and everything.
that was my next question. Like because I was just gonna say, what can we do now just to make him have to reapply?
Well, we don't want.
So the dismissal will make him reapply. So if he wants to go forward, he would have to reapply. I believe that he's operating illegally right now also.
Right.
So.
Madam Chair, the real question is not making him reapply, but allowing Building and Housing to begin prosecution for his illegal use of the property.
Exactly.
And the problem
Can
is.
can that be done now, being dismissed?
It can be, and I don't know if Rick Riccardi is on the line still. You know, we will definitely notify Building and Housing. We could let the director and the commissioner know. But I think if he applies again, there would be a delay in prosecuting because there is a variance appeal pending. So
I get that part, but if it's dismissed right now, can Building and Housing go in and do something?
This is Richard Riccardi here from Building and Housing. This discussion is really, this is a good discussion for the procedures and what's happened. But the party that really needs to be here is the law department, because the law department has an internal policy where they will not take a case to housing court. We can prepare it. We can issue a violation notice. In fact, there's already a violation notice issued. But the real issue is the law department's policy of not prosecuting something while there is a pending permit application. So what we're arguing about here is forcing someone to ask for a variance when they know that as long as they don't ask for it and just keep their application pending, they're never going to be prosecuted. So the real discussion, the real dialogue has to be with the council person and the law department. We're in Building and Housing, we're well aware that this is operating illegally. And as I say, it is already the subject of a violation notice. Thank you.
Thank you. So steps have been made and things are in motion. We're all at the mercy of the law department. So
so
I'm not sure what more we can do here.
So there are two things. We could ratify your dismissal from last week. And then I could I could send an email saying that this was dismissed and that you collectively as a board would like, I don't know if you can urge them or recommend that you move forward on prosecution. I could also copy the director of law as well as I have a couple contacts in the specific code enforcement section. So that's one course. We did see a recommendation of subpoenaing the applicant back, and I according to Mary from the law department, she said that we can make a decision on it, grant or deny if he doesn't show up after us subpoenaing him to the meeting. And I think those are our two options.
Okay, I say ratify the dismissal. And then once we hear back from legal exactly if they're still gonna not, prosecute, I don't know where else we can go with it.
Okay. Would you like to take a vote on that?
Board can weigh in, but I think ratifying dismissal is probably the strongest thing we can do right now.
Well,
it surely makes it cleaner.
Yeah,
if he continues not to show, then it would be the first time that I think we've ever done something like that, is hearing a case without an applicant present. So, and of course, I've only
I don't want to start doing that in particular, but this seems like a very extreme case here.
Well, and it also, the councilman can then also contact legal as well.
Yes.
Right. So, all right, let's go ahead and ratify the dismissal then.
All right, can I have a motion?
Okay, what's that calendar number again?
23/29.
Okay, 023-029. Okay, Madam Chair, with regard to the case heard on, May 7th, is that 7th? 8th. With regard to the case heard on May 8th of 2023, calendar number 023-029, the appellant was not present, and we moved to dismiss, holding ratification to today. And I move at this point that we ratify the dismissal of that case.
Thank you. You can have a second, please.
Member Brown, I second.
Ms. Brown with the second. Go ahead, call the roll.
Ms. Ozer?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
All right, calendar number 23-029 is dismissed, and I will follow up with Building and Housing and the Law Department, and I will also send an email to the councilman.
And with regard to the other items of old business, I move that we approve without objection.
Well, I'm still here, Ilana.
Okay, sorry. I just try to make sure we don't forget the other things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Old business 1 and 2 without objection.
Without objection.
All right.
All right. Thanks. All right.
Great.
Need a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Everyone have a good week.
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
See you next month.
See you on June 5th.
Yes.
Everyone who's traveling, Nina, have a great trip. Be safe. We'll expect pictures. Same to you.
Yes, thank you. All right.
You're on mute, Nina, but I think you're saying thank you.
Is she traveling or is it?
She's traveling. All three of you are traveling.
Everybody's traveling.
Yes, I'm having an outpatient surgical procedure and you guys are going abroad. So,
We missed.
so yay.
2000.
Well, I hope everything goes
I'm
well.
sorry,
for
yeah,
you.
Mary's case.
I
This
hope
one
so
was a big
too.
one because the
I,
client said,
I'm very fortunate that I'm upright and ambulatory. I was critically injured when I was younger in my life. And then 7 years after that, I was the victim of violent crime. So
Honestly, I didn't.
my body has
normally
been
I take
beat up a
it
lot.
closer to
Like a
the-
lot of stuff's happened.
Take
So I'm
care
up,
of it.
I'm upright and moving, but every once in a while we have to go tweak apart.
oh, what time does that